can you name what the hell is a strength of this Bears team? Like, is there anything that you could say that they're good at? Which, by the way, a lot of people have them winning 8-9 games, and when I look at the schedule, I think they might do it too. But like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
But seriously, like, what is the actual strength of this football team? They run the ball well. I don't know if we can say that, right? I mean, you've got some.
I would say, yeah. I mean, I think the first thing that jumps to mind, it's not like it's better than, well, maybe it is better than a lot of NFL running backs from, but yes, David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert has proved to be a really nice combination of running backs. I think that the other position where I am very curious to see how it goes down this year is linebacker, and that combination of Nick Morrow and Roquan Smith, I think could be interesting, and some of the other pieces that are there. So I would say, if I had to say, I would say it's those two positions, running back and the old linebacker Ruski.
Okay. Uh, yeah, that doesn't. It's just that excites no one, right? Like,
I know.
ah,
Well, yeah,
it's
yeah, no,
fine. It's
no,
fine. I think like
yeah.
I think what Bears fans, or
I
at least
think
what
there's
I'm
no, there's
excited
like,
about.
it's like forget position strength. There's a few strengths individually on the Bears. Let's call it what it is, right? There's a few players who Roquan Smith stands out as a player that he's pretty well proven, but that's not the linebacker's position. That's just a player. Like, I'm pretty confident, you know. Coincidentally or ironically, I'm pretty confident that Jalen Johnson is a pretty good NFL player, and he's going to be totally fine this year. But yeah, to look at position groups right now for the Bears, I mean, it's just been this. They are just filling roster spots. It's sort of this rank and file pedestrian like roster that they put together so far.
I'm curious if anybody wants to jump in on the chat. Do you care about anything else other than Justin Fields on this football team? Also, like, like,
Same old.
right? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, Fields, and more Fields. Like, I don't. For me, like, I, if the defense gives up 40 points, personally, I don't care. Actually, I'm probably happy about it. Let's get a high draft pick. Give up all the points. I'd like to see Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker play well. But if they're, I don't know, like Justin Jones is getting pressure for the Bears. Robert is still going to be here and care.
Right,
Um,
right. That's another good name.
so, by the way, do you think Robert Quinn is here come September the 11th in the
Oh
Niners?
my God, that is such a great question. It's so long off. I would say, oh man, I'm gonna say no. I think that they might trade him. I really do. I think that there's so much time now that both camps. Well, I shouldn't say the Bears, but at least Quinn's. There was a little bit of noise that he is requesting a trade through other channels and stuff like that. And then the Bears, like they've thrown out the respect they have for Robert Quinn, but they have admitted they don't know what's going to happen between now and the start of the season. And that based on everything they're doing, so it'd be good to trade them. Yeah,
Right.
I love Robert
And
Quinn.
me too. Great story. He had, nearly died in high school, had a terrible first season, but clearly dedicated himself physically to coming back. Did come back, was the best defensive player on the team last year in a year that you could have easily checked out at different points. Robert could do that. Give the guy credit, but it is a little odd to me that you want out the door, but also, okay, I get it. You're a vet, and the Bears are not trying to win football games, although that is not the Flus philosophy, baby. Flus is trying to
No,
get this. He's trying to get it done, which is why I think they could get to, I don't know, the 7-8 win range, because I do think you're going to get, unless things go completely Jim Boyle and sideways, to rewind back to where we started the show, I think you're going to you'll squeeze every bit of juice out of the lemon, so to speak, this year. I think because you had a lot of try hard guys that the character, the football character of everyone they've brought in seems strong.
oh yeah, and it seems like that is like such a huge part of what they care about right now. Like, they really haven't gotten to how are we going to win football games? Right now it is so much about like cutting guys, signing guys, obviously having drafted guys, and really, I mean, they really are setting whatever their base is, whether it's culture, and I guess it is because they've thrown all that stuff out at us, but they have been very diligent in this first, which what I hope is the first phase, and that there's more phases than what they've done in terms of who they've brought in and who they've not brought in on the roster. But I think this is very much a phase, and this phase that they're in does not emphasize the players yet. Like it doesn't. It is how the players. Here's how we want the players to comport themselves. Yes, and then maybe still before the season, but probably more next year and the years to come. Then you'll see the next level, the foundation thrown down, and that will focus more on we really want you to meet this player, and here's what he does well, as opposed to like all the Justin Fields evaluation. Most has been, that he's a great guy who his teammates love and who's a great leader and is first at Hallis Hall and last out at the end of the day. Yeah, but what about his ability to read a defense? How's that? What about the intermediate passing game? What about rolling him out? Does he actually do that better? What about his footwork? Like, that's what I want to know now, and we're not getting much of it.
You just hit on a point that I found very interesting this offseason, which is, the Bears are doing everything they possibly can to sell you that Justin Fields is working harder than anyone, cares more than anyone,
No,
is first guy in, first guy, last guy out. Like
absolutely.
there's,
Yep. Yep.
I mean, folds his laundry better than anyone.
Yep.
You know, he sat with Eberflus and they watched tape together. Every coach that you talk to, Luke Getsy cannot throw enough compliments the way of Justin Fields. So is it only me that is just like, are we worried that this guy has that he needs a lot of pats on the back here? Like, I feel like I'm getting a sell job here.
I think that the sell job is not for the sake of Justin Fields. I think it's for the sake of all the questions that we've asked and the obvious fan interest that exists. And right now, they don't have answers in terms of his football prowess. Like they just don't. And I understand that. I actually do. As anxious, my desire to get real concrete answers is still there, and I'll still ask the questions. But right now, that they know that I think that they're actually being weirdly honest. Like I think they're being honest. Like I think they do like him, and I think they have seen all those off the field things from Justin Fields, and all those things matter. But at this point, like I asked the question last week, Mark. I think you were there. Like, I just did the general check-in essentially on like what. Okay, every week he does something different or better. What was Justin Fields this week? And for the first time, Matt Eberflus in a while gave like something concrete. He said he likes the way he throws the deep ball. He was like, man, that guy can throw. Like I was like, thank you. Like that's it. That's interesting to hear you say that.
I don't know if you noticed, but every time you ask a question, I tweet the answer. Uh,
Didn't know that. I appreciate you charting me.
yeah. So I literally tweeted, "Flus loves Justin Fields' deep ball." Hashtag Flus, or whatever the hell I said. And that tweet, like it got, I don't know, 200 likes. People are just so into freaking Justin
Oh
Fields.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Especially when there's something like that. Like I think people are okay. Like if we're gonna talk about Twitter land and Twitter interactions, the old Justin Fields is a great leader. They're not doing those tweets aren't doing as well anymore. You know what I mean? Like the first in, first out, like they'll always do well, but not like as well. The throwing downfield, like yeah, you're gonna get some retweets on something like that. And I just hope that more and more we hear positive things like that. But that I guess they're doing their diligence, man. I guess we shouldn't I shouldn't be mad.